I understand. Then, go to your room. I will go and meet Ainz-sama once more. Yes, Tuare let go of Sebas' clothes, and then she wrapped her arms around Sebas' neck. Tuare paid no attention to the outwardly expressionless, yet inwardly conflicted Sebas, and stood on the tips of her toes. And then, Tuare's lips met those of Sebas. The moment of intimacy was exceedingly brief. Tuare's lips soon left his. It was a little prickly, Tuare said as she stepped back, touching her lips with the fingers of both hands. It was the first time I was so happy to be kissed. Sebas had nothing to say. However, Tuare looked intently at Sebas, and then smiled sweetly. Then, I shall wait here. Thank you for your concern, Sebas-sama. I understand. Please wait here for a while. Diamond suit, is something the matter? It would appear your face is red, no? That was the first thing Sebas heard when he returned to the room. Upon hearing someone comment on the redness of his face, Sebas calmed his breathing back to a deep and even rhythm. If he allowed his consternation from just now to show on his face, what right would he have to receive his master as his servant? Sebas resisted the impulse to touch his lips, instead putting on the expression of the perfect servant. It is nothing, Demiurge-sama. There is no need to address me in such a formal manner, Sebas. Just as you did in front of Ainz-sama, in front of our master of incomparable worth, you may address me by my name alone. How about you, Cocytus? I do not mind. After hearing from the two guardians, Sebas indicated that he understood. About 5 minutes later, space distorted. By the time the distortion had faded, someone stood in its place. Naturally, that person was Ainz. The staff of Ainz' old gown he had been carrying just now was nowhere to be seen, and neither was victim. Sebas, Cocytus, Demiurge and Solution knelt as one and bowed to him. Thank you for the warm welcome. Ainz circled behind the desk and took a seat. You may rise. The four of them straightened up at once, all looking at Ainz. He seemed to be in a very good mood. Let's get down to business. Demiurge, this just goes to show you were worrying too much. I didn't believe for a moment that Sebas had betrayed us. You are all too cautious. Besides, I verified it myself in the throne room. My deepest apologies. And I am grateful that you would accept my pointless suggestion, which contradicted your own judgment. That's fine. I also make mistakes from time to time. However, I can relax when I know you are paying attention and checking, Demiurge. Besides, you made that suggestion because you were worried about me. I am not so petty as to censure you for that. Ainz shifted his gaze from Demiurge, who was bowing deeply, and towards another direction. Now then, Sebas. It is time to discuss how to deal with that human girl. Sebas' body went stiff from nervousness. He forced out a yes, and then after inspecting Ainz' countenance, he made up his mind and asked, how shall we deal with Tuare? The silence continued, and then Ainz spoke, in what sounded like a suggestion. I recall that letting that girl go would result in news about Nazarick getting out, am I correct? Demiurge nodded under Ainz' gaze. Indeed, that is so. Ainz-sama, how shall we handle this matter? We shall alter her memories. Then, give her some money, and dump her somewhere. Ainz-sama, I feel that killing her outright would be more convenient. There would also be fewer things to worry about. Solution nodded at Demiurge's suggestion. After seeing their reactions, Ainz sank into contemplation. Since the two of them felt the same way, he should probably do it, perhaps. Sebas began to panic. Once his master made a decision, asking him to change it would not be easy. While Ainz had forgiven Sebas, Demiurge, Cocytus, and Solution would surely think very poorly of him now. Carelessly voicing his opposition would definitely incur their ire. However, he had to make his proposal right now. Sebas opened his mouth, preparing to speak in opposition to Demiurge's opinion. However, he ended up not doing so, because Ainz spoke first. That's enough, Demiurge. I am not fond of killing when it doesn't benefit me. Or rather, once you kill the weak, you cannot use them any longer. You must consider that they might still be of use as long as they still live. Sebas swallowed a sigh of relief. Swear had not yet been condemned to death. That said, it was still a possibility. I understand. Then how about having her work at the ranch managed by my subordinates? Oh, I recall you were breeding Tuare. That's right. Have you considered mincing them and using them as rations? We need to improve the quality of Nazarik's provisions. Demiurge's eyes left Ainz, who was muttering about chimera steaks, then no, hamburgers might be better, and looked into the distance. Then he turned back. Unfortunately, the quality of their meat is poor, and they are not up to standard. Using them in glorious Nazarik would be a little. Demiurge smiled, indicating that he did not approve. Still, we can chop up the dead beasts and feed them to the others. Of course, they will not eat the meat if you feed it to them directly, so we have to mince it up first. Oh, so they will eat their own kind? Animals are ultimately animals, after all. You are correct, Ainz-sama. Still, that is what makes them foolish, cute and suitable as toys. The thing is that they are omnivorous, so they will also eat grains and the like. Therefore, may I trouble you to grant me some grain if there is any left over? Given the current situation, our plundered supplies are somewhat insufficient. They are the source of parchment, a critical resource. I do not wish to let them starve either. How about this? Sebas, purchase large quantities of grain before we leave and direct them to Demiurge. Understood. Given the quantities required, I wish to rent a small warehouse and store the grains there. How shall we transport the grain to Nazarik? About that, bring Shaltir over and have her use gate to send it over. Demiurge will take over from there. Will that be all right? Yes. We will handle the transportation from there. Very well. Ah yes. Demiurge, you are arguably the hardest worker in Nazarik, and I am very grateful to you for that. Thank you very much for your kind words, Ainz-sama. They serve as immeasurable encouragement to your humble servant. Calm down. Therefore, I had something to ask you. Are you not suffering greatly under your many labors? I call you back whenever there are problems, and you must manage the breeding ranch to maintain the supply of parchment, and then there are the preparations for creating the Demon King. I fear you are displeased with the many weighty tasks you have been given. Demiurge was all smiles. Sebas had never seen that expression on him before. It was a smile that lacked any malice whatsoever, and endeared him to all who looked upon it. I am deeply grateful that you would be so concerned for your humble servant. However, please be at ease. All these tasks are meaningful, and they do not constitute a burden to me thus far. If I feel there is the need for it, I shall surely request assistance. At that time, I shall have to trouble you for succor and aid. I see. Sebas frowned mentally as he heard his master's voice of delight, and thought about the truth of the conditions at Demiurge's ranch. Sebas and Demiurge were both servants of the Supreme Beings, and Sebas knew Demiurge's personality well. Someone like Demiurge would never run an ordinary ranch. The same would apply even if he were raising creatures like Chimray. A brilliant flash of light raced through Sebas' mind. This was because he had guessed what sort of creatures Demiurge was raising. Could he send Swear to such a place? Indeed, Demiurge would probably guarantee the safety of her life. However, the same could not be said of her mental state. Just then, there was a lull in the conversation between Ainz and Demiurge. This was the only time for Sebas to cut in. After deciding on that, Sebas addressed his master, Ainz-sama. What is it, Sebas? If I may, he held his breath. This was a gamble, an extremely risky gamble. Yet, it was one he had to make. I would like to have Tuare work for us in the great underground tomb of Nazarik. Silence descended upon the room, and all eyes converged on a single point in the room. Ainz calmly asked Sebas, I asked Cositus the same question before, but Sebas, what merits are there in doing so? To begin with, Tuare can cook. In all of Nazarik, only the head chef and the sous chef can prepare food, excepting Yuri and the others. After considering the future needs of Nazarick, I feel that it would be better if we had more people who could cook. I also feel that it would be very beneficial to test the ability of humans to work in Nazarick. It would set an excellent precedent to show that even inferior life forms, like humans, can render service unto Nazarick. In addition, I get it. I understand, Sebas. Ainz raised his hand to interrupt Sebas' non-stop rambling about the many uses of Tuare. I know, Sebas. I am fully aware of what you're trying to say. Indeed, I have thought in the past that we have too few people who are able to cook. It is a problem worth pondering. But Ainz Sama, can she really prepare food which is worthy of Nazarick? Sebas glared resentfully at Demiurge for a moment. In response, Demiurge merely smiled. You bastard, Sebas swallowed the curse before he could speak it. Even if Ainz had forgiven Sebas, Demiurge had not. Therefore, he was striving to be as contrary as possible to Sebas' wishes, while they decided the disposition of Tuare. That must be it. He does have a point. What do you think, Sebas? Tuare mainly prepares basic dishes. As for whether they are suitable for Nazarick, that is a little difficult to answer. Basic dishes. I doubt Nazarick will require steamed potatoes or the like. I am compelled to point out the shallowness of Demiurge's thinking. Since she can already make basic dishes, that implies she can learn other cooking techniques from the head chef if she but asks. We cannot simply look at the present, but must consider the future. Then I would love to have her help prepare food in my ranch. Making mincemeat is hardly a trivial task. The two of them bickered back and forth. Ainz watched their conversation. At the same time, he looked beyond them. He saw the phantom images of their creators, ghosts of a glorious golden past. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. So, where are we going today? The fire giants, the ice dragons. Ulbert-san, I believe we agreed to farm the fire giant boss Surtur for his rare drops. Did you forget? I'd like to ask if you forgot, Touch-san. There are people who need to hunt ice dragons in order to meet their job change prerequisites, aren't there? Indeed, that is so. But Yumeko-san needs the drops to get stronger. I'm okay with. Are you referring to the primordial fire? Then the primordial ice is just as essential, no? That being the case, we should hunt the dragons. We can raise drop rates with a cash item. Surtur has a lower drop rate than the dragons, so don't you think we ought to beat him first? So you're telling me to shell out for a cash item, then? Well, about that. How about fighting lewd monsters like succubi in the abyss? Shut up, little brother. Well, if we're going after demon types, we ought to fight the 7 Lords of Sin. Granted, we might need to make a lot of preparations. Touch-san, I don't think you should be so selfish. Don't you think we'd be more efficient fighting the ice dragons, given the members who showed up? You're the selfish one, Ulbert-san. Besides, games aren't all about efficiency. Would the strongest mage and the strongest warrior please stop fighting? They've always been like that. Ever since they recruited me. Touch-san must have been a really great guy to chat up a pink penis. Chagama-san, Pararancino-san, could you please put your weapons down? I'm invoking my guildmaster's privileges. Didn't some other guild beat the 7 Lords of Sin already? Someone took out Pride. There was a post online. Apparently you're guaranteed a world-class item once you beat all the 7 sins. After all, they are world-class enemies. Speaking of world-class items, let's use the caloric stone to make a super-powerful golem. Nubu-san. I feel it would be better to socket it into a weapon instead of making a golem. I think a suit of armor would be pretty good too. We do have to think about that. After all, it's an item that allows us to make requests to the devs, so we'd be better served by thinking carefully about it. That's right, Momonga-san. We already know how to farm caloric stones, but that method depletes a lot of the metal from the hidden prismatic ore mine. We can't get it unless we have sole control over the mine. What a pain. Yeah. As long as it's divided up among other guilds, we can't replace it once it's used up. Why not just take turns using it? How about selling the information to Trinity? That ought to make people greedy and trigger infighting among them, and we can swoop in to pick up the pieces. So we sell it to the Alliance and let them kill each other? That's our strategist Punito Mosan for you. Speaking of the Alliance, they seem to be reaching out to others. Why's that? I heard they obtained some kind of world-class item, so they changed their stance towards other guilds. Akia, still, it'll be hard for them to form a high-tier coalition like last time. How about letting Momonga-san decide? Sounds good to me. Guildmaster, what do you think we should do? Wha? I wasn't paying attention at all, Oh, are you asking me now? Honestly, we'll go with majority vote as usual. That way nobody will have any complaints. Fine with me. Same here. Alright, then, the new coin will represent Albert-san, while the old one represents Touch-san. Good, everyone, take your coins. We're going to listen to the two of them speak now. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit are you quite done with this squabbling? You stand before Ainz-sama. Kosaida's words were like a bucket of cold water dumped onto the ever-escalating quarrel between Sebas and Demiurge. Both of them turned to look at Ainz, who was staring at them, and their faces blanched in unison. There was no way to tell what expression lurked within the dancing points of light within Ainz's empty eye sockets, but there was no doubt that there was great power in his gaze. The two of them sensed their master was about to castigate them at any time, and they both responded simultaneously. Forgive your servant's rudeness in your presence, Ainz-sama. Your servant deeply regrets forcing you to witness his foolish behavior. The two of them bowed in apology, but neither of them could understand Ainz's reaction. Ahahaha. The room suddenly rang with loud and relaxed laughter. They did not recall Ainz ever laughing with such mirth. Kosaidas, Demiurge, Sebas and Solution stared dumbly at this unbelievable sight. It's fine. I permit this. I permit you to argue. Yes. That's how it should be, going back and forth without end. Ahahaha. They had no idea what had moved Ainz's heart, but Sebas quietly sighed in relief, sensing that the situation seemed to have changed. Ahaha, tch, the override kicked in. Suddenly their master's mood calmed down, as though something had snapped inside him. Still, Sebas was sure that he seemed to be in good spirits. Ainz then addressed Sebas in a relaxed tone. I already know what Sebas wants to say. Unfortunately, it is not a good idea to bring humans into the great underground tomb of Nazarick. That said, I wish to see that swear girl. Bring her to me. Yes. Your servant understands. Sebas was puzzled by Ainz's strange pronouncement, but he immediately left the room and fetched Swear. Ainz-sama, I have brought her here. Bring her over. Ainz leaned forward from his chair. He stared at Swear in a very strange way. Has something about her displeased the master? Sebas glanced at Swear from the corner of his eye, but he had no idea why his master would act like that. Looks similar, he murmured. He had probably not meant to say that out loud. Welcome, Swear. Let me begin by making things clear. I do not warn people twice, because I wish to respect the choices that others make. That applies even if said choice results in disaster for the other party. With that out of the way, I wish to ask you something. If you lie, the matter will be over. The same applies if I do not receive the answer I wish to hear. Sebas could hear Swear swallow from where he was standing by the side. He did not fault her for that. She was probably feeling very uneasy about her impending fate after that threatening display. Then, my question is, tell me your full name. Sebas did not understand the meaning of that question. Why had he asked it? He glanced at her again, and saw that Swear's eyes were roving all around the room. Her attitude explained everything. Please answer honestly, Sebas prayed. The fact that she had not even told Sebas her real name suggested that it might be very problematic. That said, lying to his master would probably be the worst-case scenario for her. The silence continued, and after a nerve-wracking period of time had passed, Tuare finally responded in a voice as faint as a mosquito's buzzing. Tuare. Suraninia. And your surname? Suraninia Veyron. I see then, I shall ask you this, Suraninia. Your wish is to travel to the great underground tomb of Nazareth, that is to say, my domain, and live there, am I correct? The great underground tomb of Nazareth is not a world where humans can live. No, I do not mean that humans cannot survive there, but that it does not contain members of the race known as humanity. Therefore, I do not know if it is a suitable place for you to live. You may also choose to accept the fortune I will give you, and live the rest of your days in a distant human domain. His terms were so generous that it made people question why Ainz was going this far for her. However, Tuare did not hesitate and replied immediately, I wish to live with Sebas Sama. Ainz nodded slowly. The crimson light in his empty eye sockets seemed strangely gentle. Good. Listen well, my servants. Everyone immediately snapped to attention. Tuare hurriedly made to imitate them. I guarantee the safety of Suraninia in the name of Ainz Ulgaun. I can treat you as a guest of the great underground tomb of Nazareth, but what would you prefer? Thank you, Lord. But, I would prefer to work with Sebas Sama. If that is what you wish. Then, for the time being, Tuare shall be a temporary maid who is directly subordinate to Sebas. Sebas, give her appropriate work. At the same time, the Pleiades will change from the 6 stars to the 7 sisters, with the appropriate change in the team's leader. However, we will not move her from that place. Yuri Alpha will take charge instead. Solution bowed deeply. Also, tell everyone in the great underground tomb of Nazareth that Suraninia is under the protection of Ainz Ulgaun. At the same time, she will be working alongside you. Everyone except Tuare and Ainz bowed as one. Demiurge, do you have any objections to my decision? None at all. Your word is law in the great underground tomb of Nazareth. However, I feel many will not understand why we have welcomed a human being to this blessed land of ours. How shall I explain this to them? When I think about it, Yumeko-san's sister Akemi-san was a wood elf, but we frequently invited her to Nazareth. There is no ban on the entry of humans or humanoids. Otherwise, Ainz looked at Solution, who was waiting for orders within the room, and said, we would have to chase out your little sister as well. However, it remains to be seen if an immortal can still be considered human. Indeed, Solution. Then, Demiurge. Tell them that I have decreed this. If anyone feels otherwise, they are free to look for me. I will explain it to them. Your servant understands. I have no further questions. Then let us confirm our course of action. First, we will immediately vacate this property. All the sentries stationed here will return to Nazareth. Solution and Sebas will complete their final task in the royal capital, which is to purchase grain for Demiurge, and then they will transport it to the storehouse. Once sufficient quantities have been accumulated, we will have Shaltir use, gate, to transport the grain. Am I correct? Everyone bowed in silence. Tuare looked around and hurriedly bowed as well. Then, there's Tuare. How should we handle Tuare? Will she go back with us? Or should she go back with Sebas? Your servant submits that going back with me would save a lot of trouble. Is that so, Sebas? I understand. Then, Sebas, Solution, bring the sentry vassals here. I will take them all back with my magic. Understood. Diamond suit. After watching the 3 of them leave, Demiurge asked Ainz, may I ask if you are familiar with that girl? Ainz did not answer that question, but slowly rose from his seat. Then he turned to face a blank wall. The way he did so was as though there were someone standing there. After a short while had passed, Ainz spoke. Demiurge, I am a person who believes in returning good unto good, and evil unto evil. At the same time, I feel that debts owed must be repaid. Ainz produced a book from thin air. This leather-bound book was bound with string, and it was of rough workmanship. The head librarian has already translated it, but this is the original. It was the diary of a girl who burned with anger because her elder sister was taken away by a nobleman. Once, in a certain village, there lived a pair of sisters who were very close. Their parents had passed away when they were young, and they were poor, but they helped each other through life. However, the elder sister was taken away by the lord of the land, a man with a terrible reputation, to serve as his concubine. Perhaps the younger sister might have been able to wish her well, with tears in her eyes, if her elder sister had been able to live well. However, the rumors her little sister heard made her guess that her elder sister would be used as a toy and then disposed of as garbage once her captors tired of her. When her guess was proven accurate, the furious little sister left her village, because nobody was willing to help her. Soon, she discovered that she had a talent for magic, and so she steadily built her strength in order to save her elder sister with her abilities. However, she had met her end before meeting her aim. The diary was mainly filled with brief, simple sentences. On the last page, she had written words of praise for a pair of adventurers who had gone to gather herbs with her, Mammon and Nabe. I learned some things about how the world worked from this diary. So I am in your debt. Let me